channel. Right, as you can hear, I'm still really congested. This thing is just taking its toll. I'm sweating now. Poxy virus, whoever brought it in here. Yeah. But anyway, I fancy playing a record, so here I am, rambling on. Now, before I pick up the vinyl and start talking about it, I just want to mention one of the guys that watches my Beatles vinyl collection videos, Trevor Brown. He got a delivery of A Hard Day's Night after I told him they're replacing it with the correct chord, and he's got one, and it is perfect. So that's 2 now. So guys, persist with it. I'm gonna get your proper copy of A Hard Day's Night, no matter how many bum ones they send you. Right, just get in touch with them, say nope, not happy with that, and get them to send you another. They're not going to charge you, but we want it right? Now, the other day I put out a little video showing you what I got for Crimbo, record-wise, and I asked what should I play first. And I think it's pretty safe to say that this one, hands down. Never mind the Bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols. Bloody love this album. And it was literally one of the first albums I ever owned when I was 13, 14-year-old nipper. Yeah, about 13 I think it was. Now this was released October 28th, 1977. So that will make this 40 years old. 40 years old. Wow. It was recorded at Wessex Sound Studio in London. Obviously on Virgin. They obviously had numerous encounters with EMI and a week with A&M, but we'll get to that later on. And it was produced by Chris Thomas. Now, Chris Thomas used to produce Roxy Music. Actually, he's produced quite a lot of the good ones. The Beatles, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, U2. You know, he's got quite a big back catalogue of people that he's worked with. I do actually believe on the White Album he actually plays on 4 of the tracks. But this album, mate, has a lot of memories for me. Obviously, there was a follow-up album to this, the movie, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, which has got 1 or 2 gems on it. But this is the one. This is the Sex Pistols album. And I think they only had 4 singles from this, which was Anarchy in the UK, which was released in 76, which got to number 38 in the charts. Then it was God Save the Queen, and that got to number 2, even though it outsold Rod Stewart's I Don't Want to Talk About It. I think it was kept off the top for some reason. Having a little pop at the monarchy. Pretty Vacant. The only song the Pistols ever did on Top of the Pops, which was a British music programme. I don't think the Beeb realised when Johnny Rotten was singing, "We're pretty vacant." I don't think they realised. And obviously Holidays in the Sun, the opening track to this album. Yeah, so should we get it on now? Yeah. Did I mention that the album cover was done by Jamie Reed? Pretty simple, but very iconic. Anyway. Okay. Let's open this up and have a look. Oh, I don't remember the label looking like that. Can you see that there? I don't remember the label looking like that, but I kind of like it. I remember it just, I don't know, it was like a bluey Virgin label. Anyway, I suppose it doesn't matter. So, side A, never mind the Bollocks, let's get it out of there and see. Oh, sexy is that? Class, class. That feels like a chunk, that does. Look at that. Anyway. So, the Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks. Holidays in the Sun. I'll be back in a little while. This is fab. Bloody what an awesome album. I loved it from the very first, the boots marching in Holidays in the Sun, right up to the last bit, at the end of EMI, where it goes. Bloody brilliant. I'm so glad I got this on record again. Wow. And I'll tell you what, I know McLaren used to mismanage them and say they couldn't play. Bollocks. Right? Steve Jones could play the guitar really well. Some of them riffs, Pretty Vacant, Anarchy, you know, the descending chord. God Save the Queen, you know, that rollback. That's bloody brilliant. And Steve Jones also played the bass on pretty much all of this album. Sid Vicious was the bassist then, because Glenn Matlock had gone. But I think Sid only done a little bit of bass because he wasn't really that good at it. And there's a bit of him somewhere, I think, lost in the track bodies. But other than that, it was all Steve Jones. So kudos to Steve Jones. Fucking legend, mate. Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to Bollocks again. Absolutely amazing. Oh, and that's another thing. I heard that the actual Never Mind the Bollocks was a Steve Jones, or fans of Steve Jones that used to say all the time, never mind that bollocks, or never mind the bollocks. So it means never mind the fuss, or whatever. Anyway, let's dig in. Holidays in the Sun. I love the opening lyric. A cheap holiday in other people's misery. Done in that Johnny Rotten vocal that's so perfect with this music. But the lyric was inspired. They was getting so much bad press after the Bill Grundy incident on Thames Tonight, where Steve Jones went, "You dirty fucker, what a fucking rotter," and all that. So they went to Jersey. And then after that, they spent 2 weeks in Berlin. I think that's how it goes, like that. And that was where they actually could have a bit of a break from all the bad press and all the negativity they was getting at the time. But it's a great opening track. Love Holidays in the Sun. Bodies. Well, is this a pro-abortion song? I don't know. I've been watching a little bit of Sex Pistols on YouTube, and I've heard numerous stories. But basically, she was a girl from Birmingham, a crazy lady called Pauline, who actually did live in a tree. And I'm not sure how it goes. Johnny Rotten said that she was obsessed with him. She was obsessed with a band. She was a proper groupie. But she either turned up to his door with a clear bag with a fetus in it, or she turned up at a gig with a clear plastic bag with a fetus in it. So yeah, apparently Steve Jones said she was quite fit, and he did go with her, poor thing. But yeah, but what a song. It's got so much energy. Brilliant song. Then comes up No Feelings, which also sounded fantastic. Another quite aggressive. I think John said something like it was about someone who was just so selfish and didn't think of anyone else apart from himself, which John Rotten also said he's not like that. But No Feelings is another brilliant song. Liar. Now, I love this. Boom, 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 boom. I think this one was written about Malcolm McLaren. I definitely think it was written about Malcolm McLaren. Because I think by the time they was making this album, they got pretty pissed off with Malcolm, to be honest with you. But great song, Liar. Great song. Right then, God Save the Queen. Now, this was brought out, and I'm sure it was on purpose, because it was originally called No Future. But obviously, by the time they was going to release it, it was the Queen's Silver Jubilee, 1977. And they just couldn't miss up the opportunity to have a little pop at the monarchy. So, but they was banned on the radio. They couldn't play anywhere because there was protests. So they took to the Thames and was subsequently arrested too. But they was blaring God Save the Queen. Problems. Now this is another classic Pistols song. It's got such a cool hook on it. It's like, problem, the problem is you. What you gonna do? Bloody brilliant. It's full of attitude. Absolutely great Pistol song. 17. Well, 17, Johnny Rotten, I think he said it was about being 17 and no future and not caring about it. You know what it's like when you're 17? Like, you've got the world ahead of you. Some people plan ahead. Some of us don't. But I also heard it was maybe based on Sid Vicious, because I'm sure during it you can hear, I'm a lazy Sid. Might be me, but it's a bloody great song. And this is the shortest song on Bollocks at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Anarchy in the UK. Now this to me is the anthem. I mean, I love all the songs on here. God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, Holidays in the Sun, Bodies. But Anarchy in the UK is, for me, the song on the album. I absolutely love it. From that descending chord right at the beginning, going down, and Johnny Rotten's howling vocals. It is amazing. And funnily enough, when we was at the House of Fun Weekender last night, and I was tired from the whole weekend, we popped into a pub. Wife went to the toilet. Literally, she came out. They played Anarchy in the UK, dropped it, and I was jumping up and down in the bar. It's one of them songs. It's fantastic. And the lyric, I think, I used the NME as a kind of a little twist on it, because there's Enemy and the New Musical Express, which is a music paper in the UK, and I know the Pistols was all over it in the 70s, so it's quite clever really. I used the NME. Absolutely classic song. Ultimate Sex Pistols song, if you ask me. Submission. Now, Malcolm McLaren asked Johnny Rotten if he would write a song about fetish and sadomasochism. But John and Glenn Matlock was getting pretty pissed off with Malcolm. So what they decided to do instead was do a song about a submarine. But great song, great song. Next up, another single from the album, Pretty Vacant. And I love the opening riff on this. Dun, 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 dun. It's just, Steve Jones can really pull it together as a guitarist, honestly. And you've only got to hear a couple of chords and you know it's him playing. So, you know, everyone has their style. Well, that guy certainly had his style, the Sex Pistols style, like no other. Unbelievable. Love Pretty Vacant. New York. Now, I think this is a little pop at the New York Dolls, which the band used to like, but they'd done a kissy sort of song, so they was taking the piss. And incidentally, the New York Dolls were another band managed by Malcolm McLaren, so I think it was another little pop like Submission. And then finally, Emi Unlimited Supply. There's another version of this. I think it's done by Steve Jones, actually, like slower and orchestrated on the Great Rock and Roll Swindle. Crazy, really, when you think about it. What EMI did with them, and A&M. I don't know if you know. Malcolm McLaren got him a record deal with EMI. But after the Bill Grundy show, because Queen was supposed to go on, you know, Freddie Mercury and Brian May and the guys, they were supposed to go on Thames Today, but pulled out last minute. So EMI just got their new band, the Sex Pistols, to go on. Well, while they was in the green room out the back, Steve Jones was right on the piss. Johnny Rotten had been up for a few days on amphetamine, and basically they started swearing, and Bill Grundy egged them on. So I think Johnny Rotten said shit, and then Steve Jones just took over. You dirty rotter, what a fucker, what a fucking rotter, and all that. Classic TV, but obviously the Pistols then was just a household name. So EMI sacked them. They were picked up later on by A&M, and they was going to release God Save the Queen, because EMI had released Anarchy in the UK. Then A&M picked them up, but as they just signed them, Glenn Matlock had left. They found out Sid Vicious was the bassist. I think this is how it goes anyway. And they said, can he play? And they went, no. So the guy shit himself, and yeah, the Sex Pistols got paid £75,000 for a week's work of doing nothing. You know, I think they released God Save the Queen, but loads of them was just destroyed. And finally, obviously, Malcolm signed them up to Virgin with Richard Branson, who was a young hippie at the time. So yeah, absolutely enjoyed Never Mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols again. It's a great, great album. Every track is a winner. But obviously for me, Anarchy in the UK. And I don't think there's been an album like it. Well, funnily enough, maybe Nirvana's Nevermind. Nevermind? Never Mind the Bollocks. Apparently, the Sex Pistols were a big influence on Nirvana. And yeah, Kurt Cobain really liked them. So, and there is actually a Nirvana album with a similar sort of cover to this. Well, pretty much identical. Not an official album, mind. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. And finally, someone commented, I can't remember your name now, sorry, guy, that I should have a listen to Spunk, the 1977 bootleg of Nevermind the Bollocks. Well, I actually did. I managed to find a copy last night and download it. And yeah, it was really, really interesting. I quite enjoyed it. I'd have to give it a few more plays, mind, but raw. Really, really raw. Yeah, so, yeah, that was kind of cool. So, to me, this is the definitive punk album. Not punk rock, punk. And this has kept the whole thing going all these years. This is the Sex Pistols album. And they're pretty well known, if you know, when you think about it. I mean, most bands get 4 or 5 albums out. 1. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will probably get the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, because there's quite a few songs on there that I actually do really like. I like Sid Vicious' My Way. I loved the single that, I mean, after the 4 singles that come on here, the next single that was to be released was a double A side with My Way and No One Is Innocent by Ronnie Biggs. And that is a bloody good song, mate. Really enjoyed that. And there's a few little gems on there. I actually like the actual title track, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle. There's, I think, Tempo Tudors in there. And a whole different bunch of people singing for that one track while the Pistols was playing. Yeah, Silly Thing. There's a few on there. Roadrunner. Well, Belson Was a Gas. Actually, there's quite a few on there that I like. Who Killed Bambi? Rock Around the Clock. Lonely Boy. Silly Thing. Friggin' in the Rigging. Come On Everybody. Yeah, alright, yeah, there's quite a lot. Anyway, so yeah. So I suppose that's it for today then, guys, really. I'm feeling a little bit better now. Not great. I went out this afternoon, got a bit of fresh air. Hopefully this thing is going to break soon, because it looks like I was going to sit in tomorrow night and I didn't really want to. But the wife's really ill, so it looks like we're probably going to anyway. So, much love, people. I thoroughly enjoyed playing Nevermind the Bollocks. Thank you so much for choosing that, because I probably wouldn't have done, because I was feeling so... But I think a little bit of that sometimes shakes you up a bit. So, yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So, that's it for today then, guys. Be safe out there tomorrow night. Enjoy yourself, New Year. And I will be back with another ramble real soon. Happy New Year, people.